Welcome back to the show. Okay, I've made my position on this very clear over the years. Sometimes influencers get a bad rap. Sometimes they deserve it. But not all of them get on my last nerve. I have a collection of them that I actually love, and I would only share the good ones with you, including our next guest, who blogs about a lot of things I love. For the first time on our show, welcome Molly McCormick, also known as Molly McAwesome. Hi, Molly. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Okay. First, let me. Can I start with some compliments? I always like to either end or start with a compliment. Number one, being in this business, being in broadcasting, I always appreciate a good voice. And I just want to give you a compliment. You have, and I think audio is so important, even on TikTok and Insta, you have such a good voice.
Thank you.
I do. I just think you have a great, great tracking voice. I want to kind of introduce you to our audience. When did your love of theme parks begin?
Ooh. When I was born, basically. I came home to a Minnie Mouse nursery. I didn't stand a chance. So I think my first Disney World trip was when I was about 2. And my mom tells a story about how my older cousins were terrified of the characters, as so many kids are, because they're so much bigger than when you see them on your TV screen. But I ran up to Mickey Mouse like he was an old friend I hadn't seen in a while, and the rest is history. So I grew up going to the theme parks, and now I'm lucky enough that it's my job.
I was going to say, there's one thing, I'm like you. My first memory really is of being at Disney at 6. But there's another thing to being smart enough and savvy enough to turn it into a livelihood. How did you, and I know it's very detailed, but give me the TV version. How did you fall into being an influencer and an influential influencer?
I always liked the theme parks. I was a cast member for several years, and then I thought, maybe I want a regular 9-to-5 job. And then I realized I did not like that at all. So I started writing part-time on the nights and weekends for some prominent Disney theme park planning blogs, which turned into doing YouTube and social media for them. And then just last year, I launched my own Instagram, as well as my own company with my husband and best friend. And we do all of our own YouTube and social media and live streams and podcasts and everything like that. So it's been an awesome journey. I still can't believe that this is what I get to do for a living, but I think the key to our success, to my success, has just been, one, a deep found true passion and knowledge about these parks. I'm the biggest Disney history nerd, so I think that shows through, and then just being fun and authentic and bringing people with us to experience these places when they're not able to.
I got to tell you, it's all, whether it is my business or your business, the audience can tell. And I think as I watched your videos over the last 6-9 months, you guys do, all three of you, it's called Mammoth Club, everybody. Yes. You guys do have an authentic nature that comes through. And another reason I wanted Molly on the show is I love good entrepreneurs. And Molly discovered, I don't want to say discovered, you kind of realized your worth. You know what I mean? And I so respect that. And Molly realized that she could be a better boss of herself than being bossed around. I wanted to ask you, because everyone watching doesn't have your job or mine. How many days a week are you actually at a theme park?
Probably 3 to 5, sometimes 7, depending on the week and what's going on. You know, if I'm traveling to California, I'm going to be in a theme park every day for that week because I want to make sure, since I'm local to Orlando, I get as much content as I can. But here, being in Orlando, I'm usually there 3-4 days a week somewhere on a theme park property, Disney or Universal.
I watched a video where you covered this, but for the audience watching at home, are there days when you get out of the car, you're at the parking lot, and you get out of the car, and you're just not feeling magical?
The beauty of being my own boss is I usually don't get to the car on those days now. There's days where, like 2 days ago, it was torrentially downpouring, the weather was horrible, and I was like, I can't go make a video in this. This will be terrible. I can't use my equipment or anything. So in that case, I just reschedule and look at the calendar and see what I can do. But I think with like any job, there's days where you're like, it's gonna be hot, it's gonna be crowded, but what happens, and I'm saying this candidly, is like something magical happens. And that sounds so cheesy and like such a canned response. But
no, I get
it. When you get into those parks, even just seeing like a little kid see the castle for the first time, or hearing the music, or picking up a coffee and just people watching and walking down Sunset Boulevard and Hollywood Studios, something happens. And then it's like, this is the best place on the planet. So it's amazing.
We're going to stick around with Molly in the next segment, and she's going to give you a kind of a look at the new Super Mario Brothers land at Universal Studios. So if you have kids, bring them back in the room. But I want to end this segment on a very general question, and I know you'll knock it out of the park. People are watching, and I know you agree. I think going to Disney or Universal, it's more complicated than ever. It's like, especially if you don't know the vernacular. And what's a piece of great advice that you can share? What's one of your number one pieces of advice for a family watching right now that's getting ready to plan one of these trips?
First of all, learn as much as you can. Watch content like Mammoth Club, read planning content, learn as much as you can. But the number one piece I give to people when they're going to the parks is kind of twofold. One, something's going to go wrong. And two, make a list of your top priorities. People have it in their head that they're just going to be able to walk down Main Street USA at the Magic Kingdom and go ride everything, and it's going to be magical and wonderful. And it will be magical and wonderful, but the reality is you are not going to be able to do everything. I go there 3 times a week, and I still have not done everything in Walt Disney World. So make a list of your must-do rides and eats and characters, 5 or 7 things. Get those things done, and then everything else is just cherries on top.
See?
And
this is why she's the best. This is why you're not. As I said, Molly's going to stick around. When we come back, your look at Super Mario Brothers Land at Universal when we return. More with Molly next. I'm ashamed of myself. I know better than this. This is my thing. I keep calling it Super Mario Brothers. It's Super Nintendo World. Anyway, we're back with Molly McAwesome. Now, Molly, you got to go. Now, it's not open yet in Orlando, but it did open. Super Nintendo World did open in Hollywood. Talk to us. What was your first impression? Because you've been to a lot of these openings, whether it's Galaxy's Edge or whatever. What was your first impression walking through?
It is one of, if not the most immersive land I've been to. I think the only thing that rivals it as far as immersion goes is Diagon Alley here at Universal Orlando. But you walk in and you are in a video game. It's unbelievable. It's very kinetic as a land. Everywhere you look, things are moving, and you hear the noises from these games, and it immediately feels like you are a kid playing a Mario Brothers video game.
Did you get the sense that everyone was kind of feeling the same thing, Molly?
I did. And what's so interesting is I went with my husband and Max, our best friend, the 3 of us that own this company together, and they're both big video game kids. They played a lot of video games. I didn't. And we all had very different reactions, but we were all steeped in this just overwhelming sense of immersion, which only gets better the more you explore the land, which is what I think is so cool about it.
Let's talk about one of the rides at the land, and that is the Mario Kart ride. Walk us through that. What is that like?
It's unbelievable. It's one of the coolest rides I've ever been on. It's got some of the coolest technology I've ever seen in a theme park attraction. They built big, huge practical sets. So if you took your glasses off, you are riding through a dark ride through all these scenes that you know and love from Mario Kart. But you also are wearing an augmented reality glass piece so that while you're driving, you see the characters driving by. And what I'm seeing is slightly different than the person that's next to me is seeing. And you have your colored shells and you're shooting at them, and it is overwhelming, but in the best way possible. It's so much fun, and it blew me away. Both the practical sets and the technology used were incredible.
So it's kind of like, if I'm hearing you right, it's kind of a little practical mixed with virtual reality?
Exactly. So you'll be driving through big sets, but then you also have these glasses on, and through the glasses, you can see Bowser and Mario and all the other characters riding in front of you. And then you've got a trigger on your little cart that can shoot your shells like you're playing Mario Kart.
You kind of just said, that sounds like nothing else around, whether it's Diagon or even Guardians or Galaxy's Edge. This is a new level, wouldn't you say?
It's a brand new level. I think the thing you could compare to most is maybe Spider-Man Web Slingers at California Adventure, or another shooter style game, because it is one of those immersive gameplay attractions, but it is that on a completely new level. It's unbelievable.
Now, before we go, we're just focusing on Universal on this visit, and I hope you'll come back. But I got to ask you, as a fellow Disney nerd, what is your favorite ride at Disney World?
My favorite Disney attraction is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, you went old school.
Yeah,
I love that.
My favorite's the Disneyland version, but
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean is steeped in my childhood. That's what I think of when I think Disney. And the Imagineers that worked on it said it was a perfect Disney attraction, and it's been the gold standard ever since it opened in 1967. And I agree. It's like a family attraction, but it's still thrilling, and you've got the music, and I just love it.
My last question for you is, maybe it's not Disney, but again, you're so good at this, Molly. And again, I always like to end or begin with an interview with a compliment. You're so good at what you do. If somebody's watching, and maybe it's not Disney, maybe it's knitting or cooking, what is a key to success for being a social media influencer that resonates with their audience?
I think it's just truly being authentic. Find what you're passionate about and figure out how you can channel that into your content, because people know when you're being authentic and versus just trying to do something for likes or the algorithm or whatever it is. So if you can channel your true authentic passion, one, it's gonna be way more fun for you than if you're trying to make content about something you don't actually care about. And two, forget the algorithm, forget the game of trying to be first or whatever it is, and people will find you that have that same passion.
That's right. I so appreciate you coming on. Will you please come back and visit us?
Yes, please. I would love that.
Everyone
Let's hang out in Disney World too.
Yes, I can't wait to see you the next time we're there together. Give it up, everybody, for Molly. Search for Molly McAwesome and the Mammoth Club. Bye, Molly. We'll see you soon. She's great. Just great. I love a good influencer. She's a good influencer that knows her stuff.